This conference will now be
We're
recorded.
brothers.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Good, good. How's it going, Matt?
Good, good. Matt from Infinity Energy. Very nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too.
Guys, getting ready for the holiday? Got big plans this week?
Oh yeah, lots of family, friends.
Very nice, very nice. Are you hosting
Well, yeah, not today, tomorrow.
tomorrow? Nice, nice. That's good. Yeah, we're kind of splitting this up right now. We're doing a nice half a day at work, and then getting ready for the festivities today and tomorrow. So exciting time of year.
Sounds like a busy day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we're trying to get used to this in this new normal, right? The
Yeah.
social gathering while social distancing, right? So
For
yeah,
sure.
The good thing is it saves you a little bit of money, right?
that is true. That is true. I
For
mean,
sure.
I'm coming from a very, I come from a very kind of, well, not my family, but my wife's family is a very large Italian family. So Christmas Eve is a big news for them. So typically, the party went from 30, 40 people to 12, right? So it's a much more manageable number, right? Usually when those people are coming over, we need to start prepping for a couple weeks out. But
Makes sense.
yeah. So yeah. So thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm sure right now with the holidays and whatnot, I'm sure your schedule is super hectic. So really happy to be able to break all this stuff down and save you guys some money on your electric bill here. I see that you guys live in Cedar Grove. It's a beautiful area. I'm actually from the area. Have you guys been living there for a while?
No, just bought the house.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. When?
Yeah.
This year?
Thank you.
A couple months back, it's more of
Yeah.
the house that we're gonna like retire in. So we're just kind of looking at you know, ways that we can kind of keep our bills all predictable.
Without a doubt. My buddy is in real estate right now, and he's telling me the overall price of houses are up right now, right? The market is hot, right? So there's
Sure.
less supply, less product on the market, right? More people are buying, which is driving up the cost of houses. However,
Mm-hmm.
he was telling me, and he was showing me this chart, and he's like, you should buy now, right? Because I'm also kind of looking for my forever house. He was saying that the interest rates right now are so low that it doesn't matter if the house is 10, 20, 50, $100,000 overpriced, as long as you're going to be there for more than 8 years, right? Because
Mm.
that interest rate is so low, you're not going to be paying all that money to the front end. And over time, right, you're actually paying a lot less for the house. So,
Wow.
sparked a fire. You guys definitely bought at the right time.
We thought so.
For sure. So tell me a little bit about your search for solar. Is this the first time you're sitting down speaking with someone? Have you guys looked into it before?
We've
Yeah,
been
we you
looking
know
into it
we
for a little while. So
yeah we talked about it.
Very nice. What motivates you when for going solar? What's the motivating factor that made you guys wake up one day? Let me check the solar thing out. What are you guys looking to accomplish?
Well, I mean, for me, I like that it seems to, add value to the house. We came into the neighborhood. I hadn't thought about it much, but it's all over the place here. We have a bunch of houses. Doesn't look as bad as it did in the past. So it's starting to look a lot better, and it just seems like might be a good idea. I don't really know much about it.
Sure, sure. Very nice. And you
we're
said
trying
so
to just make the bills a little bit more predictable and just kind of save some money.
without a
Really, that's
doubt.
the only reason. It's just kind of like saving some money. I don't care about raising the value of the home because I mean we're doing a gut rent on the house, so the value is going to go up regardless.
Sure,
He's gonna
sure.
stay here forever.
Nice. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a big thing, right? So many people that I speak to, the unpredictability of an electric bill is just it's unlike any other bill, right? You get your car bill, you know what you're paying. You get your mortgage, your taxes, you get all these other bills and these invoices, your cable, your cell phone. The wild card is always the electric bill, right? It's like
Mm,
Russian roulette when you go to open it. It's like, is it gonna be
that's
50
true.
bucks or $500? What's happening this month? So,
That's true.
I hear you. So many people go solar for that to kind of just stabilize it. So you said that you've been looking into it for a little while. Have you sat down with anybody else?
Sat down with a couple other people.
Nice.
They weren't really giving us what we were looking for, so we're just kind of like waiting to hear from somebody that kind of it would make a little bit more sense and they kind of give us the information that we're looking for.
Sure. Yeah, you've been waiting for me. I get it. I get it. So,
We'll see. We'll see.
so the information that they told you, um, so obviously there was a bunch of things I'm sure that you heard that you really liked because you're sitting here with me today, right? If you didn't like any of it, you say, okay, the solar thing is not for me. What were some of
Uh-huh.
the things that they told you that you liked about, the idea of going solar? of course, saving money and the bill predictability.
I
Anything
mean,
else?
the main thing is just kind of the bill predictability and the saving money. More about the parts that we didn't like is everyone keeps telling us about this like program that it doesn't cost you anything, and that's not what we were looking
Yeah,
for.
it's
We're
somebody else's and it goes on your roof, but it's theirs. I don't really get it.
Got it.
Yeah, we didn't really understand that. I mean, if we were looking to rent an apartment to retire in, we would, but we're not renting. We bought a house, so
Without a
it's kind
doubt.
of like what we're looking
Yeah,
for.
And
doesn't
that's
really
the
make
goal of a lot of people, right? You own your house. Why would you still rent your power, right? You're doing that now, right? So
Yeah.
moving from renting power from one party to another party.
Is that
you
what
know.
you guys do?
We offer a variety of different programs. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, right? So just like if you walked into a car lot, right, you could pay for it in cash, you could do financing, you could lease it, right? So depending on where different people are in their life, every program fits different, right? So for you guys, it sounds like, an ownership is probably a better move, right? You guys are looking to own it, you're going to be there long term. There's a lot of financial benefits that you'll be able to take if you guys are employed. You guys work, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a civil engineer.
Very nice. How about you?
architect.
Nice. Oh, very nice. So are you handling and kind of overseeing the gut renovation on the house?
I am.
That's good. That's good. It's good to have somebody that knows what they're doing in that. You can really, for me, I did some damage in my house. I kind of did it the opposite way. I just went in, messed everything up, and then called the right people to come fix it. So you said that a couple of the things that you didn't like about that. You didn't like that they were trying to give you the rental, right? The leasing option, right? So we're
Yeah, I
going to
wasn't
kind of
into
move
that.
that, which is good. So now that it's kind of narrowed down to ownership, there's two different ways to do it, right? There's finances and there's ownership, right? I'm sorry, there's finance and then there's just purchasing in cash. Is this a project that you've put money aside for, or is this something that you're probably looking to finance and just kind of, pay off over time?
It really comes down
I
to
mean,
how much it is.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we could go either way, but at the end of the day, we just need to find out how much it is and what rates you guys are offering, and then we'll kind of make an educated decision if we'd rather use our
Yeah.
money or keep our money in the bank.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, right now with the rates the way that they are, I mean, a lot of people are choosing, as you guys saw with the mortgages. I mean, they're record low right now. So we have extremely competitive rates as well. Awesome. So what I've done is I prepared a little bit of a slideshow presentation to walk you through who we are, what we do, give you a pretty good understanding of the company that you're going to be working with and how the actual product works so you understand fully how it works when it's on your roof. All right. So we'll go through the slides together. Before I hop into that, do you have any pressing questions, anything that you want to talk about before I get into this?
Yeah, you guys
Yeah, we
are.
just kind of know more about who you guys are. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming this presentation is going to tell us who you guys are, and
Got it out.
then
And who
we'll
does the
come up with
work?
numbers.
I know we've sat with a bunch of guys, but who actually are the people over here working on our house? That was a big
That's a
thing
good
too. These
question.
guys.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, a lot of these companies, it gets a little bit hard to follow because there's one organization that's doing the sales, one organization that's doing the kind of the operational aspect, one company doing the installation. A really unique thing about us is we're a turnkey operator, so we do every single thing in house, right? So, and I'll get into that as soon as we open up on the slides. All right, cool. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take over on the screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
All right, there you are.
Perfect. All right, cool. You see the beach?
We
I
do.
Awesome. All right, cool. So is this big enough? Can you guys see this well?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. All right, cool. So obviously the name of our company is Infinity Energy, right? Basically what we're going to talk about today, setting a little bit of an agenda. First, we're going to talk about what solar can do for you. Then we'll talk a little bit about Infinity Energy, our company, kind of what separates us from some of the other companies you may have talked to in the past. Then we'll take a look at your bill. Thank you for sending that over. That was good. That gave us an opportunity to build out the proposal and kind of better prepare your quote and save us a little bit of time on here. So thanks for sending that over. Once I break down the bill, we're going to take a look at the numbers to the proposal, and we're going to see if this whole thing makes sense for you. Sound good?
Fair enough.
All right, cool. So what can solar do for you? So pretty obviously it can save you money. I think everybody knows that, right? The cost of solar and owning your own electric is significantly cheaper than what you're currently paying for PSE&G right now. So we're going to save you a pretty significant amount of money right off the bat. Two, it's going to be able to gain you energy independence. So you're going to be able to start producing your own electricity. Also, it's going to give you price protection. So we were talking about this before. The rising rates of utilities, they're getting so expensive right now, and it's getting very hard to predict, what it's going to be in the future. Typically, rates are rising anywhere between 2 and 5% on an annual basis. So solar gives you that price protection, which allows you to budget accurately. When you know how much your bill is, it's a lot easier to manage. I know that those $400, $500, $600, $700 electric bills that come in the summer, they're killers, right? Instead of taking your family out for a nice dinner, right, you're paying the electric bill, which it sucks, right? We want to get away from that. And for me personally, one of the biggest driving factors for putting solar on my own home is helping the environment. This was very, very, very important to me. I'm no dummy. I get that we're going to be passing, this world and this, this surroundings onto our children and our children's children. So if I can help the environment while saving money, this was a huge motivating factor for me. And it just turned the whole thing into a complete no-brainer. So let's talk a little bit about Infinity Energy. So Infinity Energy has been around since 2008. As you can see here, we're an A+ accredited business by the Better Business Bureau. Also part of the American Solar Society, screened and approved by a variety of different rating companies. One of the reasons that the company has an extremely interesting background. So the way that it actually got started, it was co-founded by two childhood friends from Northern Jersey, Murphy and Achilles, Murphy on the left, Achilles on the right. Their backgrounds were pretty interesting. Their parents were both first-generation Greeks that migrated over from Greece. So they moved right across the street from each other. So the two of these guys were pretty quick friends. So what happened was they stayed very close friends all throughout elementary, high school, college, so on and so forth, and kind of went off on their own paths. Murphy on the left decided to open up a roofing company. Right? So right out of college, he got into the roofing trades, learned the ins and outs, and opened up his own company. So as of today, Murphy's still a GAF certified Master Elite roofing contractor. Are you guys familiar with GAF?
That was the roof that we picked out in our material list.
Very nice.
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys know, this is the best of the best, right? GAF is an extremely high quality product. They're the world leader in roofing. They're also globally headquartered in Parsippany, New Jersey. So we have a direct partnership with them for the past 15 years. And they actually rate every roofing company they work with, Master Elite being the highest, which is what we are. So that gives us better pricing, more direct ability to receive different types of products. And most importantly to you, we're a full-scale roofing company. So we fully understand how the roof operates. We understand how to flash and seal all penetrations that we make into the roof. And we understand how the roof actually operates, which provides for a better looking and better operating install. All right. So as of today, we still do 50, 60 roofs aside from the solar per month. So that's a little bit about Murphy's background here on the left. Now, on the other side is Achilles. So Achilles is a master electrician by trade. So when he got out of college, he became an electrical apprentice, learned the ins and outs for a while under one of the top electricians in New Jersey. And he actually opened up his own company called Eco Electric. So Eco Electric was a super successful residential electric business. Basically what they would do is mostly residential stuff like you see here, main service panel upgrades and service changes and things of that nature. So really what you get here is these two guys came together in 2008, right? One being a master on the roofing side, the other being a master on the electrical side. In 2008, all the incentives for solar started to get really good. So what happened is these two friends, they took their two companies, they combined them to open up Infinity Energy. So as you can see here, these are some of the installs that we've done in the past. You can see the product that we use is an extremely low profile racking system, keeps the system nice and flush to the roof. As you can see also, the majority of the times we're using these black on black panels. It's just an overall better looking product with a better experience. And one of the very unique things that we do because of our background is the way that we actually install the systems is fundamentally different. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. The way that the majority of companies actually install the system is by actually leaving this conduit right here on the exterior of the home. I'm sure you've seen this driving around.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yep. So a lot of companies do that because whenever you have a system that needs to be connected here into your meter, and if you have multiple arrays, that needs to be connected through a conduit pipe, right? These need to be connected. Now, if you look here, both of these systems are installed or connected, but however, you can't see the conduit pipe. The reason why you can't see it is because we bury the electrical and we usually run it through the attics. So the piping is here, but it's on the inside of the house or in non-visible places. So the install takes a little bit longer, but the final product is 10 times nicer. right? It gives it that nice, real low profile, seamless look. And it's just an overall better looking install, better quality install. All right. So that is a little bit about Infinity Energy. Any questions on that?
Couple questions that kind of come to mind
Sounds
is,
good.
since we are going to be doing the roof and whatnot, is how's that going to affect my warranty on the roof that I'm going to be getting?
Good question. So it's not going to be affecting it, especially if it's a GAF. The way that works, keep in mind, we're a Master Elite GAF company, so it's not going to be voiding any warranties. Any additional penetrations that are also made in the roof, you guys are covered through an internal warranty through us for workmanship for 25 years. So any penetration that we make, you're still going to be covered through GAF, but you're also going to have a separate warranty for us that's guaranteeing all the penetrations to be airtight and leak-free for 25 years. Long time. Any other questions about that?
Rad, you got anything?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Great. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop into the next piece here. And again, I'm going to take over the screen, so just let me know when you can see that. All good? Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing that I want to talk about a little bit is the incentives. So this is a pretty interesting story. I'm not sure if you're really aware of this, but what's happening is the actual electrical infrastructure that we're currently receiving electricity from is completely falling apart. So I'm sure you guys have seen this before, right? Down power lines or this kind of rat's nest in here of all wires and cables up on the high tension lines. Basically what's happening is this infrastructure that we're currently receiving electricity from was built to support the population of 100 years ago. So the population's expanded very quickly. Everyone is consuming so much more electricity than what we did 5-10 years ago, right? People are charging cars and their whole houses, right? Everything in their house is connected to a charging port. So what's happening is the actual infrastructure that delivers the power is basically falling apart from the inside out. Poles are going down, lines are going down. In addition to that, the way that we're actually manufacturing the electricity through coal and nuclear is dirty and dangerous. So what needs to happen here is the entire infrastructure needs to be upgraded, and it would cost about $4.8 trillion to rebuild this delivery infrastructure. So the federal government was in a pretty unique spot, right? They don't have 4.8 trillion. That money was completely unheard of, especially before this pandemic when people were throwing this, billions and trillions of dollars around. But 4.8 trillion, it's an unbelievable amount of money. So what they did is they had a unique situation on their hands. They needed to figure out how to get power to people's houses without taxing them or adding any more pressure to the current delivery system. So naturally, they thought of solar. So they tried to get people to go solar. The issue was that it was too much money and it was too much cost to get people to pull the trigger with this. So they were having a hard time with it. So what happened is they developed an incentive program to give people the ability to go solar so they can generate their own power on their roof and, more importantly, deliver that power from their roof directly into their own home. They did that by a couple different ways. One of them is they created a federal investment tax credit. This is the Fed ITC. It's very simple. The way that it works, it's a dollar for dollar credit off the total amount of the system. Now, for example, right, just throwing out a number here, if your solar system was $50,000, right, in 2020, which is 26%, you would get 26% of that money back on your federal income taxes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, so it's a dollar for dollar tax credit off the total amount of the system. So in this particular example, if your solar system is $50,000, right, you got 26% of the money back on your taxes, you get a $13,000 tax credit. Now it's different than a deduction. It's a federal income tax credit. So every single dollar that you have the credit for, you get a full dollar back. All right. So it's as long as you pay taxes. You guys both pay federal taxes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good.
You got a way around that one?
Not really. Yeah. You got to find the real good accountant for that one. But yeah, so the way that it'll work is you'll get the federal tax credit. It's 26% back on the total cost of the system. As you can see here, the numbers are decreasing year over year. So this is one of those things where, strike now while the iron is hot. Now, in addition to that, they put together another program, and that program was through the state of New Jersey. So the federal government was doing their part with the tax credit. They're paying for, a quarter of your solar system. In addition to that, they put the pressure on the state of New Jersey to offer their incentive, right? So New Jersey developed a separate incentive. They developed something called the TREC. And what that means is your solar system is going to generate electricity. Every time it generates 1,000 kilowatt hours worth of electricity, the state pays you $91.50, right? And this goes on for 15 years. Now, you will be consuming the power that the solar system generates. The state is not buying that power back from you. They're literally just paying you for generating clean power. So all the power that your solar system generates that you consume, you'll be paid for on top of that by the state of New Jersey, $91.50 every 1,000 kilowatt hours. So
Now, do you get that monthly, or is that like a weekly, or is that how does that come?
Every time you generate the 1,000 kilowatt hours, you'll get the money, right? So the average solar system generates around 8,000 kilowatt hours per year. So in the average circumstance, you would get 8 of these TRECs, each worth $91.50. That make sense?
Yeah.
So you have 2 separate incentives here. So we'll just kind of review them very quickly again. The federal government that has a 26% dollar for dollar income tax credit, right, which will give you 26% of the total value of the system back on your federal tax return, right, when you get your taxes back. In addition to that, you're going to get a credit from the state of New Jersey. Every time your solar system generates 1,000 kilowatt hours worth of power, right, you're going to get $91.50 ACH'd into your bank account. This is real money, right? So this isn't a tax credit or an IOU or anything, right?
And that's guaranteed? You guys put that in writing?
Correct. Yeah, it's guaranteed for 15 years. It's state law. Yep. Any questions about the incentives? I know it's a little bit to grasp between the 2 different sides.
So even if we paid cash for the system, we're getting this money on a yearly basis for the next 15 years.
Correct. It goes directly to the owner of the system. So you guys probably didn't hear about this before because the other companies were talking about the leasing option, right? So
well, they kept telling us they were going to keep it, and that kind of didn't sit right with us. It kind of like pissed us off, to be honest with you.
So these incentives, they go to the owner of the system, right? So if you lease a system, the owner of the system is the financier in that case, right? If you own the system through finance or purchase, right, the owner of the system is you. So these benefits will go directly to you.
Right. Now, if we end up purchasing a system from you guys, we're not going to have to deal with any liens or anything on the house?
No. So they kind of did away with all that. There was a lot of like liens and holds. That was kind of the old way of solar. No, all those things are gone. It's called a UCC filing. That's the only thing that's on the house, but it's not a lien.
All right, and the tax credit.
The document saying that you have an outstanding loan out on this piece of property. That's it.
Wait, so I don't understand. So there is a lien, or what do you call that then?
It's called a UCC holding, right? So it's basically, if you have any loan, right, there's a paper trail saying that you owe X company amount of money, right? So if you have a car loan or anything like that, right, it's basically just a document saying that like this is not 100% paid off by you, right? You're financing this project and that's it. But it's not a lien that can prevent you from selling the house. None of that.
Okay, but is it having the house being represented as collateral?
No, the house is not. It's not the collateral on the system. All right. Yeah, the liens are those are pretty much went away.
And the tax credit. Now, how do we decide? How does the tax credit work? Who gets the tax credit? And do we have to, does it come this year? Does that pays out? You said the New Jersey incentive pays out as often as we produce a kilowatt.
Correct. For 15 years.
Right. And now in the tax credit, which one of us gets that? And when does that pay? Like, how often does it? Do we have 1 year to use it? Do we have 5 years? Like, how's that work?
Yep. So that's a good question. So you have up to 5 years to claim the entire amount. Right? So you have 5 years to collect it. Now, the majority of people are going to collect this in year 1. Do you guys file separately or jointly?
Separately. We're brothers.
Separately. Got it. So if you guys are filing separately, right, what'll happen is whoever owns the system, right, whoever's name is on there.
Scissors?
Yeah, you could. So you can also split that. I mean, if there's 2 people on the agreement, you can split the ITC, right?
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that was my question.
What about the TREC? Can we both claim it?
No, it'll go to one person.
We're gonna have to arm wrestle over that one, bro.
I mean, you typically lose, so it's all good.
I'm feeling strong today.
Yeah, so that's the way that the incentives work on those sides. So, any other questions about the incentives and how they work? Oh, again,
No,
but the federal tax credit is usually claimed year one, right? So, as
okay.
long as you have the tax appetite, whoever's the person that's really filing on this, usually most people keep it under one, right? So whoever's filing on it. So a good example here, let's just say round numbers, right? Your income is $50,000 per year. If you have $50,000 income per year, right, you can break that down and say, okay, well, I'm going to owe the state. I'm going to owe the federal government around 10 to 12,000, right, and I'm going to owe the state between 3 and 6, or between 5 and 7,000, give or take, right. So that's your tax appetite. You would have 10 to 12,000 dollars with the tax appetite from the federal government. As long as you hit that
Makes
number,
sense.
you claim the whole thing in year one. All right.
Okay.
I'm not an accountant. You could talk to them about that when you file for it, but it is a dollar for dollar. And if you can't claim the whole thing in year one, you have up to 5 years to get it. All right.
Fair enough.
All right. So the next thing that I want to review with you is your PSE&G bill. I kind of picked it apart and highlighted it over here. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to educate you on how your bill actually works. So an electric bill is a very unique thing. Everyone pays it every month, but no one really understands how it works and what they're actually paying for and what they're actually getting for their money. So I broke it down here in an easier way to understand. So if you look at your bill here, it's broken down into a couple easy segments. So segment 1 here is the amount of electricity that you're consuming. So if you look here, the total amount of electric that you used in the past 29 days was 251 kilowatt hours worth of power. Okay, 251 kilowatt hours. Now it's broken down into a couple main segments, right? You have your delivery charges and then you have your supply charges. So for starters, your delivery charges is everything that it costs to get the power actually delivered to your home. So this is just getting the power from the power station to your home. So this is like a shipping and handling fee. Now, there's a lot that goes into this charge. So if you think about it, every single time you see a PSE&G guy drive by, every single time you see one of them working on the wires, working on a house, doing anything, all those people need to get paid. And what are they doing? They're all working on getting the power delivered to your home, right? So there's a charge for that, and that charge has been passed directly along to you. So instead of PSE&G paying for that, they bundle it up into this nice little delivery charge, right? And they pass it along to you every month. So last month you paid $16 just to get the power delivered to your home, just to get it delivered. That's not actually even buying the power. Now, one of the beautiful things about doing solar is once the system is installed, you're going to deliver your own power to yourself, right? So you're not going to need this charge anymore. So we're going to do away with this. The one charge that we do want to keep is this charge right here, which is called your monthly service charge. Now, this is a very beneficial charge, and we're going to keep this charge even after we go solar for something called net metering. So the way that the solar system is going to work is during the day, that system is going to generate electricity, right? It's going to generate electricity during the day. If you're home, you'll consume that electricity in live time. So as the system is generating electricity, you'll consume that electricity. But if you're not home, that system is still generating power, so it needs somewhere to go. So what we do is we keep it connected to this basic service charge. The system will generate the electricity, and then we'll take that electric and we're going to store it out on the grid. Then when you come home, the sun goes down, the system is no longer producing electricity. You can pull that same electricity right back out. Does that make sense? So you can basically store all the power that you want, an unlimited amount of power throughout the course of the month, throughout the course of the year, and you only pay $4 a month for it. So it's a pretty good deal. So we're going to hold on to that piece. All right. The next portion on here is the supply charge. So I'm going to pull this up. So the supply is exactly what it sounds like. So you see down here, the supply charges. Last month, you paid $27.76. Okay? $27.76. So this is exactly what it sounds like. It's the supply. So last month, you bought $27 worth of electricity. In return, you bought 251 kilowatt hours. That's what you got for your money. And then you paid an additional $16 to get that power delivered to your home, which is why your total bill was $43.92. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what we need is we needed to figure out how much electricity you used on a monthly basis throughout the year, which is why I needed this graph. So again, thank you for sending that over. The way that a solar system is built, we need to figure out exactly how much electricity you're consuming month by month. Then we take all the months, we add them up, and then we're going to build a solar system that's going to generate the same amount of electricity. All right.
I'm sorry, bro. I know this is a weird way to find out that I closed on the house a year ago. I've been living here the whole time, but I figured you were gonna find out eventually anyway.
No, I already knew.
Okay.
So basically what I do is I take all that information, I take everything that I need to know out of your electric bill, right? It's going to tell me how much electricity you're consuming. Once I
So
have
we
all that
want to keep the service charge. That's the part that stood out to me the most about what you just said is we want to keep a charge. You said the service charge, we want to
Yeah.
keep it. You were going to explain why. I didn't really get it, but I'm trying to stick with you here. There's charges from the electric company I want to keep. Please elaborate.
It's a good fee. So that allows that whole net metering mechanism that I was talking about.
Anybody hearing that?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, Sabir. Yeah, it's a good fee that you want to keep.
All right, explain that because I don't know many of those.
Yeah, so as the system is generating electricity, if you're home, you'll use the electricity. But if you're not home, you need somewhere for that electric to go. So that basic service charge is going to give you the ability to use PSE&G's grid to store the electricity out there, right? So for $4 a month, all the electricity that the system generates, you can store out on the grid and use
There's
it.
There's not a way we can store our own electricity, or how's that work? There's not a way that we can be independent from them.
Well, there is. I mean, you could purchase a battery if that's something that you're interested in doing, but it's
I don't know how it works. It's just...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a couple different ways that you can do it, right? You can do it by this, which costs $4 a month. But if you're interested in kind of going off grid, quote unquote, you can actually disconnect. But
is it that much more expensive? Well,
yes, yeah. The typical battery that we sell is give or take between $12,000 and $16,000, give or take.
Okay. Well, take a long time to get up to that, doing $4 a month. But what are the benefits of having a battery?
You would have power in an outage. So in the case of an outage, if the power went out, right, you would have continued power. Do you guys lose power a lot where you're at?
Not really.
Good. So, and what I recommend here, batteries. I mean, we sell batteries. We love batteries. I think it's a good option. But where we're at today, there's a lot of players that are coming into this space and they're starting to compete at a very high level against each other. So what's happening is the technology is moving in the right direction extremely quickly, while simultaneously the price is dropping dramatically. In addition to that, in New Jersey, there's not currently any state incentives or utility incentives for batteries. They're like in California, for example, the utilities have all incentives for batteries. In Long Island, they have all incentives for batteries. So it's very popular out there because it's very heavily subsidized by the state and by the utilities.
Say I run my business from home, and it's important that I have power. Like you said, I have to talk to my accountant about that. But couldn't I write it off as a business expense?
Sure. Yeah, and you'd also get 26% back on the total value of the battery through that because it's part of your solar system. That would be in the ITC.
How long, if the power went down, okay, the best battery I could buy, how long could it power my home?
It all depends on how much you're willing to spend, right?
Yeah.
So
best one. Say the best battery they have. Like let's say we got the best battery. Power goes out. Everybody's down. I have a battery. How long is my house going to be powerful?
The way that it would work, if you were interested in a battery, when we come out to do a site assessment, you're going to tell us what type of critical load you want to back up, right? So you're going to say, in the case of an outage, I'd like, for example, I'd like my furnace to make sure that it stays on, the first floor lighting, the internet, and these select breakers out of your box. Depending on how many breakers you select, right, and the size of the battery will depend on how long that stays for. Obviously, the more breakers you add onto the battery, the faster the battery is going to drain, right? Obviously, the larger the battery, the more time you'll have. So it's kind of an intricate situation depending on what you're looking to back up. If you're going to say, hey, in the case of a power outage, I want to be able to run my air conditioner 24/7 and charge my Tesla, it's not going to last very long, right? On the vice versa of that, right? If you say, hey, look, I only need first floor lighting and my refrigerator, my furnace, it's going to last a very long time, right? So it all depends on what you're looking to do.
And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Exactly. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And again, if this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend to wait at least another 6 months. They're talking about rolling out incentives on a state level for this in the very near future. They're talking about massive price decreases in the very near future. So it's kind of a newer thing that I would let some of the first generations work out the kinks, right? And drive down the price. And of course, this can always be retrofitted with the system. All right. So next thing I have the proposal. So I want to go ahead and flip over here and we'll take a look at it. All right. So So can you guys see my screen here?
Yeah.
Perfect. So like we were talking about before, the cost of utilities is rising at a pretty dramatic rate. Taking a look at this today, your average electric bill over the 12-month average is $196. In 5 years, it's going to be $229, so on and so forth. So you see that the electric costs are taking off at a pretty dramatic rate. Now, the solar system that I prepared for you guys, it's a 10.54 kW system. All that really means to you is it's going to produce 13,000 kilowatt hours worth of power, which is 100%. Yep, exactly, which is 100% of your total annual year's usage. So this solar system will produce 100% of the power that you need to power your home. Now, it's going to give you 13,000 kilowatt hours, which, like you just mentioned, is going to equate to 13 T-Rex per year. So every single time the solar system generates 1,000, right, you'll get $91.50. So that would happen 13 times a year in this scenario here. Okay. Now, the solar system breakdown, I use 31 LG 340s. So LG is the best of the best. They're the highest quality solar product really in the world right now. They come equipped with the best in business warranty. So it's a 25-year warranty on the product. So everything is covered on the actual panel. It's a 25-year warranty on the power, so the amount of power that the system generates. And it's a 25-year warranty on the labor. So if anything were to ever happen with the product or with the power, that's also warranted on the labor, right? So what would happen in a lot of cases with a lot of different panel manufacturers, if you had a warranty claim and there was an issue, they just ship a panel to your house. Then you'd have to call a company to come out and swap the panel out, which costs you money, right? The way that this works, since we're a platinum partner with LG, is LG in this case, if there was ever a warranty claim or a faulty product, they'd ship the panel to us. We come out, we install the panel on LG's behalf, and then we invoice LG. So you're not even involved. Does that make sense? So super nice. The next thing that we're going to pair the system with is an Enphase microinverter. So the microinverter is kind of the brain of the system. It takes the electricity from DC to AC. So DC is the power that solar generates, which is not usable power for your home. It needs to be an AC current, which is what the microinverter does. So our entire monitoring system is actually visible directly through Enphase, which is really awesome. I want to show you a couple things here. When you have this monitoring system, you're going to be able to see in live time exactly what the system is doing. So this is a screenshot of my monitoring system here, right? So you can see the system, how much electricity it's generating per day. Electrical production is in blue. How much electricity you're consuming, which is in orange. You can get a snapshot of exactly how much power each panel has produced. And you can kind of track exactly what's going on with your system on every 15 minutes in here. So pretty neat, right? Most people don't look at their electric bill like that anymore, right? You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how much electricity you're consuming until you get the bill. And by that point, it's way too late anyways, right? So, all right. So I'm going to
A couple of questions. You kept talking about the warranties. I'm trying to understand. Are they prorated, non-prorated warranties? So let's say 20 years from now, something goes wrong with my panels, and I reach out to you guys, and let's say you guys are not around, and I have to call LG. Like, how's that going to wind up?
Yeah, how's that work?
Sure. So if for some reason we weren't around, LG honors this warranty for 25 years, and they would choose another. So we're a platinum installer with them. They'd have a different platinum installer that would actually contract to work at that point. So LG has a lot of companies in their network, right? It's LG. They're one of the largest companies in the world, really, right? So, and they're a massive player in the solar space. We do plan to be around for the next 25 years, but if God forbid we're not, right, if something were to happen or we're to sell, whatever it is, LG still is the warranty holder on that. So everything is covered through them. All right.
So it's non-prorated. Is that what you're saying?
On the product, you're good. Yeah. So the power works on a degradation. So it just every amount.
Yeah, that I understand. I was just talking about the panel itself.
No, exactly. Good.
Yeah, that part I understand. It's like buying a TV, right? When you first buy it, the first week that you buy it, the picture's all nice and clear and crisp, and a month later, you're like, it's time to buy another TV, right? So it's like.
Well, the nice thing about the solar panels, there's not actually any moving parts really inside the solar, right? So a panel just basically sits there and does its thing, right? So because there's no moving parts, things don't break down in a solar cell. They just don't, right? They're built to last a very, very long time. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of this, but like the NASA space station with those giant wings, those are solar panels that power the NASA space station. They've been up there since the 80s, right? So they've been powering the space station for almost 40 years, right? So these things last a very, very very long time.
I said, imagine how much more efficient they can make them now.
Yeah, without a doubt. So,
So
all
a
right,
couple other questions that I have for you. I know that you gave us the LG 340s.
Yeah.
How's that compared to like the 375s? Because I was kind of doing some research, and LG was the brand that we wanted to go with, but I saw the 375s, and I know
He does all that
I
stuff.
think there was another company called SunPower or something. They were doing like the 400s. Like, what
Sure.
makes the 340 so much better? Like, why did you guys choose the 340?
The 340s are an ideal product because you're getting the best bang for your buck. So SunPower doesn't actually offer a 400-watt panel for starters. I can talk about that for a minute here. The name of the game is to produce a higher wattage panel in the same footprint. What SunPower did is they just built a bigger panel, right? So it's not actually a 400-watt panel, it's a bigger panel, right? So in commercial solar, for example, right, the panels are massive because they're going on top of these huge warehouses, right? So it doesn't matter how big the panels are. So on the commercial side, you have panels that are 400, 450 watts because they're the size of a door or two doors, right?
Mm.
The name of the game is to take the most powerful product and put it into the smallest footprint, which is what LG does better than any other company in this space, right? On an inch per inch basis, this is the most powerful product. Now you hit the nail on the head with the 375. LG does have a 375 watt panel. That panel is black on white. So originally when we're pitching this, we like to pitch the black on black panels. It's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. However, we do offer both product lines. The thing is that whenever you go solar, you're looking to get the most bang for the buck, right? You're looking to get the most economically friendly deal, which is what this is going to provide. When you move into 375s, it's a newer generation product. It's basically fresh off the printer. And because of that, it's more expensive. Now, in your case, we're able to produce 100% of your power with these panels, 100%. So all the power that you need, 100% of your previous year's electrical consumption is going to be 100% offset by the system. By state law, you can't generate more than 100%. So we're already providing to you the absolute maximum amount of power that you can receive. So it doesn't really make sense to spend the extra money on a higher wattage panel when you're already getting a 100% in the maximum amount of power that you're actually allowed to generate by the state. Does that make sense?
But
That does
technically,
make sense.
if we use them, shoot, real quick, bro. But if we use that higher energy output panel, wouldn't we technically need less panels and then have to buy less panels?
So in a scenario like that with your system's 30 panels. So I'm sorry, 31 panels. So maybe if you use the LG 375, right, you need 30, for example. However, right, it's not, the solar systems aren't based, right, on a per panel basis. It's based on the size of the system, which is measured in watts, right? So if the watts are exactly the same, the LG 375s are going to cost more money, right? So your system is a 10.5.
But how so? But how so when you just told me it's not based on the panel at all, it's based on the watts?
Exactly.
How does it cost? But how would it cost more if it's the same wattage?
It's not the same wattage. We're talking about 375 versus 340.
Okay,
right?
okay, not the same wattage, but I'm saying you're saying it's based on what it's going to produce, right? I'm confused.
No, it's based on the wattage. So it's how many watts are the wattage of the 375 watt panel is more expensive, right? So
right.
it's just
so if we needed like 4 less panels with the 375, it wouldn't balance out the cost. Like how's that?
It wouldn't be 4 less.
How much difference is the cost per panel?
It's about 20% more money overall for the same amount of power.
Wow.
Yep,
okay.
For the same amount of power. So, and again, we can explore that option if that's something that you're interested in looking for. But first of all, that panel is, you told me aesthetics were important to you, right? So that panel is black on white, the 375. This is black on black, right? It's going to be a little bit of a better looking product. And in addition to that, it's going to give you the most cost savings, right? As you start increasing the cost of the product, cost savings decrease, right?
Matt, I appreciate you putting that together. The other thing that I was kind of looking at that kind of caught my attention as well is that I know that you said that we were producing 100% of our power, but as we kind of spoke, we just purchased a house, and my brother finally confessed to staying in that house for the past year without me knowing about it. But now that one thing that I'm kind of with that, well, I can't kind of like air our dirty laundry out in front of Matt, right? So
all right. So what are you gonna say?
So the one thing that I'm kind of looking at is that with me moving into the house and with the renovations and everything else, I'm assuming that we're going to end up using a lot more power than what we have right now. So
Sure.
Is there any way that we can kind of cover that on the front end so I don't have to kind of call you back or call whoever back and try to add
Yeah,
more
how's that work?
panels? It's like, I really don't want to deal with all that.
So as long as you have 12 months of historical usage, there isn't actually any way to do that. It's based off of your previous 12 months usage. I mean, for this scenario, in this role play, right? I mean, we're just going to go off that 12 months usage. But as a side note here, if you don't have 12 months usage, let's say there's only 2 or 3 or 4 months usage recorded on the bill, you moved in 3 months ago, you could do something called a load calculation, and we can build the system as large as they want. Right? Because there is no historical usage to go off of. So we're forecasting what we expect the usage to be. But in this scenario, let's just stay with the 12 months usage because that's going to be the case nine out of 10 times. So in this case, you already have 12 months of historical usage, right? So we're only allowed to provide the amount of usage that you've consumed in the past calendar year. However, these systems are extremely scalable, right? So you still have more room on your roof. So in a year from now, 2 years from now, if the system wasn't producing everything that you were looking to produce, or your electrical usage expanded, which is popular, right? People go out, they buy electric cars, they buy jacuzzis, they buy pools, and all these other pieces, and electrical usage increases. Now, it happened, as soon as that reflects on your electric bill of previous consumption, we can scale the system accordingly, which is very easy to do.
Oh, wow. So if I were to, so if we just came into the home, if this is based on our usage, right? If we just came into the home and we knew we were going to get solar, how do they base that if we don't have 12 months of data? Should we just, like, when we move in, use as much power as possible for the first month and then they base it on that? Like, how's that?
No, it doesn't matter because we could do something called a load calculation. So we could basically tell the utility company, like, we've came in the house, we've counted up all the outlets, we've counted up all the appliances, we've counted up all the pieces that are going to be consuming electricity, and this is the calculation and the total amount that they're going to need over 12 months. So we have a lot of flexibility at that point, right? But so let's move back into the any other questions about that? The product, those are all great questions, and I'm happy to see that you guys have done your research.
No, I mean, that was the couple questions that I had, and you kind of hit the nail right on the head, and
Perfect. All right, cool. Let's
find out how much this bad boy cost us, so we can see if we can make this work.
So 30-year cost of doing nothing. You stay with the utility, you're going to pay $131,866 to the utility company. 30-year savings with solar, you'd save $111,000. So massive cash swing here. So let's talk about the system. So the total system cost is $36,890, right? Your total cost here, like I mentioned, you're going to get 26% back on your federal income taxes. That's $9,591.40. So that's that 26% federal income tax credit that I was talking about here. Now, if you take $36,890 and you minus $9,591 from your federal tax credit, your net cost is only $27,298. And keep in mind, you're going to get all those TRECs. So every single time your system generates 1,000 kilowatt hours, you're going to get paid $91.50 over the course of the term, right? Over the course of the 15 years, you're going to get a total of 17,842 hours back, right? So it's a big chunk of money. So the way that the system is configured here, we're looking at a loan term of 15 years, right? Now, I like 15-year loans for a couple different reasons, mostly because the actual loan will be riding the same duration as the TRECs. So really, every time you get a loan payment on a monthly basis, you're going to be getting a TREC to help offset that monthly loan cost, right? So I like the 15-year, but we can be flexible with that. We can move it up or lower, whatever. But 15 years is a fantastic loan in New Jersey. Now, the other reasons why it's a fantastic loan is it just matches up very nicely price-wise. So today, your average utility payment, which you're currently paying today for electric, is $197. Once you go solar, like I mentioned before, we're generating 100% of your power needs. The only thing that's going to be left over is your basic service charge, which we know is $4.95. Now, in place of your $197 electric bill payment, you're going to have a monthly loan payment that's only $189. So you're swapping out a $197 payment for a $189 loan payment. Now, the beautiful part of this is you're going to get all that money in TRECs. So on an average monthly basis, you're going to get $99 in TRECs, right? So a little bit more than one per month on average. So if you take your loan cost of $189 and you minus your monthly TREC proceeds, which is $99, you're looking at a net cost of $95. So you're taking your total net cost from $197 down to $95. over the course of the 15 years, once the system is paid off, right, you own the system outright, the TRECs end, there's no more loan payments, and all the power that you generate for the rest of your life is free. Okay? Now, the way that this loan works is pretty neat. So the total loan amount is for $36,980. However, the federal government knows, the loan company knows that you're getting all this money back at the end of the year. So the way that they've configured the loan is the loan company is going to give you until the next tax season to take this federal tax credit and apply it against your principal here. So what they do is they start off your loan payment at $189 with the idea that you've already returned this money that you have coming your way. Now, as long as when you get the tax credit, you apply it against the principal, which is what they're expecting you to do, your monthly loan payment will stay at $188.85. If you decide to pocket this money, the $9,591, and go on a vacation or renovate your kitchen or do whatever you want to do, that's completely fine. But the monthly loan payment will go up to $256 per month for the duration of your loan, which is still less than what you're paying now. Because it would be $256 minus 99, you only be paying around $150 per month net versus the $200 that you're paying now. Any questions about this? So it's a good idea either way. You're either going to be saving $50 a month and you're going to put almost 10 grand in your pocket, or you're going to be saving, $100 a month more, $102 a month for the next 15 years. Okay. Now, there's also an industry-leading APR on this, which is 2.99% over the 15 years. Like we were talking about, money is basically, it's free right now. 2.99% is extremely low interest rate for any type of home improvement project. If you've ever financed roofing or windows or anything like that before, usually it's 10, 12%. So we're giving these away with these APRs right now.
Matt, a couple questions. Yeah, a couple questions that I have for you is that so what was the payment on the loan prior to the TREC?
$189.
$189. Okay.
Yep, and you're currently paying $197 today, right? So even without the TREC, you're paying less, right? So you're going from taking money and literally flushing that money down the toilet every single month, right? Because when you take money and you pay an electric bill, there's no investment in that, right? You take the money, you flush it down the toilet, it's over, right? So instead of taking that money and flushing it down the toilet, you're going to be taking $189 and you're going to be investing that into your home, right? Every single month. Now, in addition to that, right, you're going to get all those TREC proceeds on a monthly basis. So you're literally being paid for saving money. So in 15 years, it's all over. All right, so 15 years the TREC ends, 15 years the loan ends, and boom, you're scotch-free. The system is still fully warranted for another 10 years after that through the 25-year warranty. And you're in the clear. All right. Any other questions you have for me right now?
How do we know that we even qualify for solar, especially with us doing like that gut reno, and we're doing some electrical upgrades? There's a lot of work that we're going to be doing around the house, so I don't know if this is even going to work, or how do you guys can fit into that picture?
Sure. Well, we have the information that we need from a variety of different places right now. The engineering has already qualified your home from the exterior and from a satellite. So they figured, okay, you have enough roof space, you have enough roof surface, right? There's not too many trees that are surrounding the property. And for those reasons, the outside of the home actually qualifies, right? The only other thing that we would need to make sure that you qualify is a soft credit check. Right, we do a credit check right now. We make sure that the house, they make sure that you financially qualify. But from the exterior, you qualify from a solar, from a home viability for solar. You qualify through that angle already through the engineering department. The only other piece left is the financing piece. Any other questions? And when you're doing your renovations, you're not going to be moving any roof lines, right?
No, we're not changing the roof lines. We're changing the roof material. We're gonna go from like a timberline roof to like a country mansion or something.
There you go.
So we haven't closed that aspect of it. We're still looking into that. The other thing that I was kind of looking at right now is that because part of the presentation and everything that you guys talked about is you kind of mentioned that you guys being electricians, you guys are being roofers. What part of that whole perspective can we put a load on to Infinity to help us take care of the whole project?
So it depends on what you guys want to do. I mean, we do residential electrical work and we do roofing work, right? So I was under the impression that you already kind of had your contractors and whatnot to be moving forward, but we are a full scale roofing company and electrical outfit. So if you say, hey, Infinity, we'd rather contract you to do, the main service panel upgrades or the service change or certain, we're not going to be like running lights and electrical to the whole house, but main service panel and main distribution electrical areas, we could upgrade, we could do all that stuff. So if you're looking.
Well, the reason I was asking about that is because like the 2.9% that you were showing us is definitely a lot better than what we kind of found at a different at our credit union and everywhere else. So we're just trying to figure out how much of those funds we're going to be able to tie up with the loan that we're going to take for solar, and how is that going to benefit us in any way.
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, so we could look at something with this, and we could come back and we could give you a quote for the roof, and we could give you a quote for the electrical work that we would do. So if you have a 100 amp panel right now, and you're looking to move to a 200, right? If you're doing renovations, that's work that we could do. We could upgrade the service coming into the house, right? The meter pans, things of that nature. So there's certain parts of the electrical piece, and yes, that can be put directly into this loan. And not only would you pay 2.9% on it, but keep in mind that would be the cost of the solar project. So you'd actually get 26% of that money back on your federal tax return as well, right? Because that's all part of the solar project, right? It's all tied in together. The roof, the solar, the electrical, it's all one, right? So
Gotcha. Okay.
So we could definitely do something like that. So what I would do is, I can get those exact quotes depending on what you're looking for. But really what we would need to do right now, the next steps is I'm going to send you a credit application. Once you receive the credit application, I need you to fill it out. Okay. So we do things a little bit differently than some of the other companies that you might have spoken to in the past. All the information, I know you're super excited about it. The numbers look fantastic, but it is preliminary information. So we've gathered this information off of satellite imagery. So what we'll do is, as soon as your credit approved, we'll send out a site assessor. That'll come out in the next handful of days. The site assessor is going to hop up onto the roof. He's going to take all the measurements. He's going to measure basically all the trees. He's going to use a device called a sun eye, which measures solar radiation that hits the roof. And we're going to rebuild this entire quote with the actual real world numbers. Now, typically the front end of this is extremely accurate, but before we dot any I's and cross any T's, we want to make sure it's not pretty accurate. We want to make sure it's exact, right? So we don't want to go back and redo any of this. So what I'm going to do right now.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, and I appreciate you doing that. But I mean, I could show you right here, like my credit's at like 832, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really want to run my credit, especially if there's a lot of processes that you still guys have to do. Is it possible, like maybe you guys can come out, put all the final numbers together, and then we can kind of run the credit all at once? Because you know what, I just bought the house and I just went through closing, and everybody ran my credit everywhere. It's just I just kind of feel violated when it came to my credit.
I hear you. Yeah, so the only way that we're going to send anybody out to the house is make sure your credit approved, because that's what initiates the project, right? So what would happen? I'll send you out the credit application. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a soft check, so it's not going to negatively affect your credit or hit your credit, all right? Do the application, which will let us know that you are financially qualified for the loan amount, and more importantly, in your case, for the loan amount up to what amount, right? Because if we're looking at packing any things into the loan, we're going to need to know that before we build out the final quotes into all that. All right. So I would send out the credit application. Once you're approved, then we would send the guy out. He does all the measurements. He inspects the electrical, and he'll inspect the roofing. We can kind of discuss on some of the things that we're looking to upgrade. And then I'd be able to build out the final quote. The whole thing takes about 5 to 7 days.
What are the criteria you guys are looking at when you're looking at the credit?
On this one, it's mostly credit score. If your credit score is 8 something, it's only credit score. If it was lower, they'd be looking at debt to income and all those other things. But if it's over 800, I mean, that's good enough for them. It's straight credit score. All right. So I just emailed this credit application out to you. Can you go ahead and open that up in your email?
Yeah, I see it.
Great. All right, cool. So I'll hold here. I'll give you a minute.
I didn't get it. I can't get into my email.
It's only one. Yeah. Well, Sabir, since he's got the 820, he's going to fill this one out. So go ahead and fill that out. You go ahead and fill it out, and then I'm going to be notified on my end that it's approved. Perfect. So you guys are approved. Wonderful. All right. Now that you're approved, I'll have the amount that you guys are approved for up to. And then I sent the site assessment. So the next step is what we're going to do is we're going to have the site assessor come out to the house. All right, the site assessor is going to hop up on the roof. They're going to take the measurements. They're going to inspect the electrical panel. All that stuff is going to come back to me. I'm going to rebuild the quote, and then we'll talk in about a week's time. So today is Wednesday at 9 a.m. Does next Wednesday at 9 a.m. work for you guys to review all the final numbers?
Yeah, that works, but is it possible for you to send us whatever you talked about today so we can kind of review it? That way when we meet on that week, everything, if there's any other questions or anything comes up.
Yeah, I'll send all this. I'll send the quote over, right? I'll give you guys, we can take a look at that. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. So here's my cell phone number, right? Give me a call anytime between now and next Wednesday. In addition to that, you're going to be hearing from Susan. Susan's going to be your personal customer service representative, right? So she's going to reach out to you. She's going to just make sure that the time, the date, and coordinate everything with the site assessment. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions for me? No? All right, perfect. Well, I look forward to doing business with you guys. Super excited this worked out and everything looks good. You'll hear from Susan over the next couple of days. And again, if anything pops up, just feel free to reach out to me directly. All right?
All right.